directly into the engines without air bubbles as the propellants deplete. Helium load began before the webcast went live and will continue to be topped off until a minute and a half before launch. Very shortly, we will open the pre-valves between the first stage engines and the propellant tanks. And at T-minus 7 minutes, engine chill will begin. This will cool the turbo pumps and avoid thermal shocks when we start the pumps at T-minus 2 seconds to light the Merlin engines. The vehicle is healthy and we're currently working no issues. Range is still green. Weather is looking great, as you can see on your screen. We got some beautiful blue skies over there in Florida. We have a 90% chance of favorable weather for T0. And all systems continue to be go for liftoff at 12:34 p.m. Eastern Time. If for some reason we don't launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at 12:12 p.m. Eastern Time.
In February, we announced the world's first all-commercial astronaut mission to orbit, commanded by Jared Isaacman, the 37-year-old founder and chief executive officer of Shift4 Payments, and an accomplished pilot and adventurer. The mission is named after Inspiration 4 because of the 4-person crew's mission to inspire support for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and send a humanitarian message of possibility. Since February, the other 3 crew members have been selected from the general public, and we are excited to tell you a little bit more about them, their roles, and the mission. Together, this 4-person crew represents the pillars and purpose for the Inspiration 4 mission: leadership, hope, prosperity, and generosity, with Jared representing leadership. Haley Arsenault of Memphis, Tennessee will serve as the medical officer overseeing medical care and experiments on the mission and occupy the seat of hope. Haley's selection is particularly poignant for this mission as she is a former cancer patient of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Now at 29 years old, she has become an inspiration to others at the hospital where she works as a physician's assistant. Dr. Cyan Proctor is a 51-year-old entrepreneur, educator, trained pilot, and active voice in the space exploration community. She was awarded the seat of prosperity after being selected as the top entrant of an independently judged online business competition conducted by the Shift4 Shop e-commerce platform. Dr. Proctor will serve as the mission pilot and back up the commander and support related needs throughout the mission. Christopher Simbrowski is a 41-year-old mechanical fault detection and diagnostics lead at Lockheed Martin and United States Air Force veteran. He was awarded the seat of generosity after contributing to a special fundraising campaign for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Mr. Simbrowski will serve as the mission specialist and help manage payload, science experiments, communications to mission control, and more. Over the coming months, the crew will undergo rigorous commercial astronaut training by SpaceX before their targeted launch date, which is no earlier than September of this year.
We're currently just under 4.5 minutes from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. We're currently waiting for the transporter erector, the TE, to retract. The TE is that structure next to the vehicle behind the fairing, as you can see there, and the clamps are starting to open up there. Now, after the clamps are fully open, the transporter erector will begin to retract away from the rocket slightly. And then at T0, hydraulics will pull the TE farther away from Falcon 9 to clear the way as the vehicle lifts off. It looks like the clamps are just about finished, and the TE is retracting back. It looks very slight, but it's just enough to move away from the vehicle. And we use the TE to roll the rocket out to the pad and raise it to its vertical launch position. It also provides liquids, gases, electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload fairing. And it looks like that TE retraction is now complete. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Superchilled liquid oxygen is our propellant oxidizer, and when its temperature is increased, it turns from liquid to gas, which is why you see some white clouds around Falcon 9, and that's that liquid oxygen meeting the warmer...
bleed verification.
It's that liquid oxygen meeting that warmer, humid, ambient air.
Stage 1 lock, so it's complete.
And there's that call out that stage 1 LOX loading is now complete. Second stage will wrap up LOX load at T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and this means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. Just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we light the Merlin M1D engines, and we use TTEB, as I mentioned earlier, as our ignition fluid. Now, when TTEB mixes with oxygen, it burns a green-colored flame, and then we allow the fuel into the thrust chamber, and the engine comes up to full power for liftoff at T0. Now, the Starlink payload continues to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is still looking beautiful over there in Cape Canaveral, and the range has cleared the surrounding ground, water, and airspace and are green for launch today. Just waiting for that call out for second stage. Right on time. Stage 2 LOX load is now complete. And with the completion of LOX load, we will start to vent out the LOX line on the transporter erector, so you'll see a lot more of that white cloud that I mentioned earlier. There you can see it on your screen. Again, this is just the liquid oxygen venting out of the LOX line on that transporter erector. And just under 15 seconds or so, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and stage 1 and stage 2 will start to pressurize for launch. Again, the weather looks amazing over there. Some blue skies. Great weather for a launch.
Falcon 9 in startup.
There's that call out that Falcon 9 is now in startup. Now we're just waiting on the final go for launch from the...
Stage 2, press for flight.
Waiting for the final go for launch from the launch director.
Falcon 9 Starlink LDs go for launch.
And there it is. All systems are go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Now let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes our stack of Starlink satellites into space.
Stage 1's startup pressures.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Falcon is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying our stack of Starlink satellites to orbit.
Nominal power and telemetry.
Max Q is the next major event coming up here shortly, which will now be throttling down the engines, the M1D engines on that first stage for. Max Q is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle sees on ascent.
Vehicle is supersonic.
And the weather, again, is looking beautiful, clear skies with an amazing view of Falcon on ascent there.
Max Q.
There's that call out that we have passed through Max Q. So in about a minute, we'll have 3 events happening back to back. That'll be main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation and SES1, or second engine start 1. Now MECO is where we shut down all 9 of those M1D engines on the first stage that you see burning there on your screen. That's in preparation for the second event, which is stage separation.
MVAC is chilling in.
Just heard that call out that MVAC chillin has begun. Now stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage, and first stage will make its way back to Earth and attempt to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, while stage 2 continues on its journey with the third event, second engine start 1. That's where we light up that MVAC engine, and it will propel the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to their targeted drop-off orbit. just under 20 seconds or so away from those three events. That's MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. You should be able to see MECO here in a few seconds with those 9 M1D engines shutting down here shortly.
And MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition and throttle up.
And there we've had main engine cutoff and stage separation. You can see that from the ground tracking view there. We did have a good call out of second engine start 1 on the second stage.
Fairing jettison confirmed.
And we heard the call out for fairing deploy. And it looks like we don't have those onboard camera views, but we can still see the first and second stage on your screen there. Now, as a reminder, we will be attempting to recover the fairing halves today with our contracted recovery vessel named Sheila Bordelon.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
And it does look like fairing separation was good. Now, as stage 2 takes our Starlink satellites to their targeted drop-off orbit, stage 1 will make its way back to Earth by executing 2 burns. The first is the entry burn. That's where 3 of the M1D engines will reignite. This helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. Now, the second burn is the landing burn, and this is the single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on the drone ship, and that is that center E9 engine, which is just powerful enough to slow the vehicle down to touch down on that drone ship.
Second stage is following the nominal trajectory.
And we do hear that call out that second stage is looking nominal. Unfortunately, we do not currently have any onboard views of that second stage at the moment, but everything is still looking nominal so far.
If you're just joining us here, we did have a successful liftoff of our stage 1 from Falcon 9 from
Stage 1
Cape,
FTS is safe.
Cape Canaveral SLS-40, and we're currently stage 2. We do not have the camera views right now, but we do have confirmation that it is still looking good. Again, our stage 2 is delivering our Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. And that's our stack of 60 Starlink
Stage 1 entry
satellites.
burn shut down.
Second stage continues to follow the nominal trajectory.
We just heard that call out that stage 1 entry burn was successful, and there you can see we do have our stage 2 camera view finally back, and it is looking good there with that MVAC nozzle glowing. And there's our stage 1 view back on our left as it continues to cruise down, getting ready for the start of its landing burn in about 30 seconds here. You can see those hypersonic grid fins of the first stage there on your left, and they control and help orient that first stage as it comes back down to
Stage
Earth.
1 transonic.
Again, stage 1 will be targeting landing on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. And right before landing, it will deploy 4 carbon fiber landing legs.
Start of terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Have the start of stage 1 landing burn. This burn will last about 30 seconds. You can see it coming down towards the Atlantic Ocean there. What a beautiful view from that stage 1 camera.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
What an amazing view.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
What an amazing view of that stage 1 landing burn. We got our cameras back just in time for that. And this marks our 79th successful recovery of an orbital class rocket.
to go.
And the 7th recovery of this particular booster.
Expected loss of signal, Kate.
We had an expected loss of signal there, but
Nominal orbital insertion.
we did have confirmation of second engine cutoff and a good orbit. And now stage 2 is going to coast in this orbit for the next 35 minutes or so. And while that happens, take a look at this animation showcasing where we are in the coast phase, and we'll see you back here at T plus 45
Acquisition of signal
minutes
to Finland.
for a second stage relight.